Welcome back to another episode of Making Things Fun, Cool, and Sexy, where we explore the people and innovations driving the future of manufacturing. Today, I'm in Sacramento, California, the capital of our state, where big decisions are made. I'm thrilled to be joined by Lance Hastings, President and CEO of the California Manufacturers and Technology Association, CMTA. With over 25 years of experience in government relations, Lance has been a strong advocate for California's manufacturing industry, working to create a business-friendly environment that supports innovation and sustainability. Before leading CMTA, Lance held leadership roles at companies like Miller Coors, bringing a deep understanding of both corporate strategy and public policy. He's been featured in major outlets such as ABC News, NBC News, CNN, Politico, and the Wall Street Journal. And he was just named as Sacramento Business Journal's Most Admired CEOs last year. Under his leadership, CMTA has shaped key legislation to help manufacturers thrive. Today, we'll dive into the state of manufacturing in California, the implications of AB 52, and what can be done to overturn it and support the future of our industry. Lance, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, Christine. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So first off, tell us a little bit about CMTA and what you do here.
So CMTA is a trade organization, like many other industries have. It was formed in 1918, so we're 106 years old. It was formed in Oakland, California, and it was at a time in the state's history when power was being consolidated here in Sacramento, but most of the commercial hubs were elsewhere, Los Angeles, San Francisco, etc. And they realized that what was happening in Sacramento legislatively was impacting their businesses. So they formed the California Manufacturers Association, and we added the word technology in 1999 to really, truly reflect what we were all about. So now we're CMTA. And I've been in charge here now for 6 years. Love every minute of it. The challenges are strong, which I'm sure we'll get into, but the opportunities for manufacturing in the state are endless, and we just need to pursue those with a little bit more vigor.
Well, we are very grateful that you are here backing this industry, helping us make, smarter, wiser decisions from the Capitol to support manufacturing.
Thanks.
Yes. So let's just get into it. What is AB 52 and why is it so important to California's manufacturing industry?
AB 52, this legislative session, is very similar to a bill, AB 1951, that we had in the previous session. So the legislature operates in 2-year cycles. The first effort was both by Assemblymember Tim Grayson from Concord. We got the first bill passed into the governor with only 3 no votes in the entire legislature, and that includes all the committee votes too. So there's 80 members in the Assembly, 40 in the Senate, but there are approximately 155 vote opportunities with all the committees. Only 3 no votes, and that was at the very end of the process. So then the bill was vetoed. The governor said there's no money, we're coming out of a surplus into a deficit situation. So this year, this session, we crafted AB 52, again with Mr. Grayson, to put in some triggers so that we could address any of the issues that might be budgetary related. So if the budget's going well, we get the credit. If the budget's not going well, we don't get the credit. So we thought we crafted it, perfectly. And this time the bill was passed with not a single no vote of any legislator. Everyone who voted for it voted favorably. So we thought we had a really good chance with the governor signing. I know we're in a deficit situation, but when manufacturers are investing in California, everybody wins. The retailers win who get to sell the products, the capital equipment. The employees everywhere get to win, property taxes win, and it's a good investment in the future, which is how we position it. This is for investing in California's future. The governor is dealing with immediate fiscal issues and not necessarily looking down the road. That investment would in fact help. And the narrative of the government supporting manufacturing would really go far and wide in the state. 40 million people would get that message. The 30,000 manufacturers that are here would get that message, and we'd start investing again. Unfortunately, he vetoed the bill, and we're going to keep at it until we get a meaningful investment credit so that manufacturers in California can be treated just like manufacturers in 38 other states that offer this investment credit that we don't. And we're going to keep at it. That's our number one priority, and we're not going to give up.
Wow, so 38 other states have this tax incentive.
Right. And the ones that don't, so There are 5 states that don't: Mississippi, Alabama, New Mexico, Hawaii, and South Dakota, whose entire GDP would pale in comparison to our single state. And all of the other states in the United States either offer manufacturer's investment credit or don't charge sales tax at all. So California is one of 6, and I don't think it's the kind of outlier positioning that suits California very well. We should be a leader in this space.
Why do you think California should stay competitive in manufacturing?
Well, a couple of reasons. We're the #1 manufacturing state, so we have that title. Our geographic position on the Pacific Ocean with 3 major ports just in California, not to speak of the ports up in Seattle. We are uniquely situated for that. We have the best workforce, I will argue, in the world. So 40 million people here in California in a fairly condensed location. We are the 5th largest economy in the world. We have it all. We have the best weather. You and I grew up in the Bay Area, and you're down in the Bay Area with your operation. We know that we have the best weather, but we're missing some of the other opportunities. And a lot of it has to do with our narrative. We haven't had the right narrative about manufacturing. It's not dirty, dark, and dangerous. In fact, it's clean, safe, and very, very efficient and sustainable. And once we get that narrative out, I think we'll have much better success down the road. But what I think is really clear that I want to convey to you and to your viewers, we don't have a right to be #1. We have to work at it every single day, all of us together, small, medium, and large, and no matter what you make, whatever widget it is, to be able to make that in California, it makes a difference in the state, the national, and the global economy, and we need to keep working at it.
I totally agree with you. I think the state, we have it all, and with manufacturing, it creates so many other jobs. It is a multiplier. And so when we hear that manufacturing is leaving the state, it's very sad, right? And we need to do whatever it takes. And hence why this podcast, making things fun, cool, and sexy, because there is a fun side to this. There's a cool side, there's a sexy side to manufacturing. I used to be a red carpet reporter. I am now working in a machine shop. And we get to make really, really cool parts that is making an impact in society. And we really need the support from our state to continue to, if there's any tax incentives, businesses need to know about it. How does AB 52 compare to other tax incentive programs?
I think ours applied better, and I know that's a qualitative word, because it was universal. Many of the other tax credits that are out there are singular, kind of rifle shot targeted, that have an impact. I'll be honest, there's an effort by the governor and his administration to focus on green technologies. I get that, but you can't do one without the other and pick winners and losers. So if you want to support manufacturing, let's support it all. And again, back to my map, like everybody else is doing. And then we start to really get going. And I've used this phrase before, that I'm really tired of the government doing things to us. More regulations, layer upon layer of regulation, whether it be workforce, environmental, just a multitude of regulations. But I'm not asking the government to do anything for us. Don't give me a handout. Give us an opportunity, give us an incentive. What I am asking the government to do is do something with us. And it's a frame of mind. So stop doing things to us. I'm not asking you to do things for us. Do it with us. And when we have that kind of conversation, I think we can all advance the ball and have a really good, focused, strategic conversation about what should manufacturing look like in the next 5, 10, 20 years, heck, 50 years. We don't have that state plan right now. And I'm going to keep working until we get one.
Thank you for doing that. And, in order for manufacturing to come back to America and to thrive again, we need the help from the government, from investors, public, private sectors, everyone, making the decisions to seeing that manufacturing is actually so important for our economic growth. What do you think we can do as manufacturers to help support you and to maybe raise more awareness so that Governor Newsom can hear us and support us?
Well, it's get involved. I mean, that's the first and foremost, because it is a political activity. It's a blood sport, and you got to be on the field engaged in the game. So that's the first one. So we've been around for 106 years fighting the fight. We need everyone's support. There's over 25 local manufacturing organizations, the one that you're involved in the AM Bay Area, doing a great job down there. We need to do more. And I think a lot of the challenges we face, we're trying to keep the doors open. You're working hard just to keep your business going. Then you shouldn't have to worry about what's happening in Sacramento, like they did 106 years ago when they were in Oakland, saying, hey, what's going on 80 miles away? That affects our business. So if we get people involved, I think that could really change the landscape, because after all, legislators have constituents. The governor has his statewide constituency. They need to hear more from us. And if we can make that pivot with the narrative support that we're doing it at CMTA, but with what you're doing promoting it, I think we can get a really long way toward that. But it's going to start really at the beginning, and it's all wrapped up in that narrative.
And sometimes when people think of like, how can I stand up to the government, they get afraid. How can you kind of like normalize this, or how can they help support you and other associations more without fearing that the government might do some backlash?
The two most important things are be factual and authentic. And if you're those two things, you shouldn't be concerned about, is somebody on our side or not. If we do those two things, we're factual and we're authentic, we will be able to advance the ball. And I believe in that, and that's what we've been doing for the 6 years that I've been here. And we've had some very good success. I don't want to, let your viewers think that we didn't get our tax credit bill, so we're not effective. That was our priority. We have so many other things that we're working on. Our team here tracks at least 200 pieces of legislation each year. 200.
Wow.
And there are over 3,000 introduced. So when we target our effort and we focus it with the facts, we'll be successful. But it's like the Saturday Night Live thing, more cowbell. We need some more activity.
Yeah.
And we're asking local groups to really help us and join us on the journey.
So why is it important for not only large corporations, but smaller corporations to support AB 52?
Because the impact, I think, would really be felt at that small and medium manufacturer level. And I say that because when we went into COVID in early 2020, there was a lot of anxiety in California, economic, social, etc. And those smaller manufacturers that capital is more expensive because of interest rates and inflation. Their time frames are longer to make the investment, as you well know. And we wanted to come out of COVID with an inspiration so that we could lead, we could keep leading. And it's all at the small and medium manufacturer level. There are 30,000 in California, as I mentioned before, 25,000 of which are small and medium enterprises. So if you're thinking, I need to buy that very expensive equipment that I planned on buying in 5 years, now it gets pushed out to 7 years or 10 years, we're limping along on some old capital. And when I say that, I mean it's inefficient from an energy perspective, from a production perspective. And why can't that small and medium manufacturer have access to new modern equipment? There's no reason that shouldn't be the case. Larger corporations have the ability to spread their capital across the nation or the world, and the ability to adapt. But everyone slowed their capital purchases. And we showed data to the governor that we're in this unique window that manufacturers want to replace their capital. And a little incentive would go a long way. And we just weren't able to get over that hump. So it's the voices of the small and medium manufacturer. We recently formed a committee, Small and Medium Manufacturing Committee within CMTA. Never had one before. Established it last June. And that committee is getting active and saying, here's what our unique challenges are. We all make stuff, but here's what the unique challenges are for a small and medium manufacturer. And that is really catching some momentum, and we're going to see that through.
That's awesome. I mean, when I first started working at my family's machine shop, my dad gave me Excel to run off of, right? And it took a little while. It took me about 1.5 years to convince him we need an ERP system. So when you're saying that, it is so crucial. And I share this story, and it's very relatable because a lot of family-owned businesses, manufacturing, when I'm talking about this, it's more manufacturing. Like, it's a struggle for us to modernize our factory. And so if we had incentives, it would help us try different technologies to keep up with all of the trends and to stay competitive.
Yeah, and because you're competing regionally, statewide, nationally, and globally. And we need to support and recognize that because it's so vitally important. And it's not just you trying to be in business in the Bay Area. You're trying to be in business essentially for the world.
100%. And, my mindset when I work at my family's machine shop, and we're trying new technology now, like we're adding some AI into our business, trying new things. And of course, it's like, yes, we want to survive and thrive as a family business. But my intention is to learn new technologies and share it with others, because we need to elevate all manufacturers. It's not just about SVE and Christine. It's like, how about everyone else? Because when everyone else thrives, we all thrive. And so I really hope we could get more incentives to help us invest in better equipment, newer technology, because there's actually a lot of VCs and investors investing into software, into technologies for manufacturing. They know it's coming back, but we need the infrastructure. We need to modernize our facility, our operations. So,
And we need a partner in that.
Yes.
So you're not alone. And the best partner could either be the state government, well, the national government too. The CHIPS Act that they passed, has the potential to bring a lot of resources to California, and that should trickle through everybody's enterprise. But without that partner that we desperately need, that 38 other states have, it's going to be difficult for us to advance. And that's really what we're pushing for. And then why that AB 1951 was our first effort, AB 52 was the second effort. I don't know what our third effort bill number is going to be yet, but we're not going to stop until we get it.
And when will you try again?
Next session. They reconvene. There's an election, a couple of weeks. The legislature returns to Sacramento in December, and then they begin in earnest come January. So we'll be ready for that.
That's awesome. Well, what do you think, how do you think California can be more innovative within manufacturing?
I think if we continue to tap into our universities, the creative spirit that is just kind of like a natural thing in the ether in our state, we're a very special state. And I know some others may say that about their own, but California is truly unique. And our ability to embrace that and harness that will really be the determination of how our future goes. After World War II, manufacturing came to California and really put us on the map. And we all think we've always been great. We were great during the gold rush because that put us on the map. And then there was a period of about 100 years where California was like all the other states, just trying to find its way and adapt. Then after World War II, there's so many people involved in the military relocating, settling down. They came here. And that's why California is so great. So if we remember why and how we became so good and harness that, I think that could set us up well into the future. But right now we're not as clear as we could be. And Southern California is different than Northern California, as is coastal California from inland California. But it's all great. And how we manage that is going to be really, really important, in fact, imperative in the next 5 to 10 years.
I agree. While I was driving here, it's about a 2-hour drive from South Bay up to Sacramento. And I'm like, wow, California is like a country of its own. I mean, it is like a completely different area from one city to the next.
Absolutely.
We are very, very unique here. I'm so blessed to be able to live here. What do you see as California's future in manufacturing, and what is CMTA going to do to help us?
So the future needs to be bright, and that's easy for me to say, but it has to be, because manufacturing at its very core is the economy. So you can't have a state economy or national economy without a manufacturing component. It is essential. It's like water and air. You absolutely need it. And once the policymakers understand that first and then embrace it, we're going to keep having our challenges. So what we continue to do, here's the narrative. We have 1.3 million workers in the manufacturing sector in a state of only 40 million people. I haven't seen the most recent figures, but I think about 22 or 23 million workers in California. So we're 10% of the workforce. It's important. Our job base and our wage base is the highest of any industry sector. And you can come into manufacturing without necessarily having a 2 or 4-year degree. You can come into manufacturing if you have a skill and a desire to apply that skill. And then you can work your way all the way through, from the shop floor to the C-suite. And there are countless examples of that. And I challenge any other industry sector to point to that kind of example, because we have it. And we start with a great wage base. If the average wage for a new entrant to manufacture is $85,000 to $100,000 a year, and it is, in 4 years that their counterpart is in college, they would have already made $400,000 and developed their skill, grew themselves We should be proud of that. We should be celebrating that. In fact, rewarding that. And yes, that college student, their income expectations will follow. But let's not let an 18-year-old man or woman wander and wonder what their future looks like. Let's give them that opportunity to work and create something. You've heard me say this before. Manufacturers make everything. So if you work at a manufacturer, you are part of making everything. And that should be a wonderful reward. And in the narrative, we need to make sure that we get that right.
Yeah, I recently had a conversation and someone asked me what was my favorite class in like high school or grade school. And it was woodwork, because I got to make things. And that was the most memorable class that I had, even though, I took other classes, but that was the most important, like the most memorable to me as a child.
I still have the checkerboard I made in wood shop.
Yeah.
In junior high. I still have that checkerboard.
So we also need to bring back the trades in schools so that the kids can try making things and know that we're meant to be creative, right? And when you talk about manufacturing and how it's so important, I'm studying at Harvard right now, and there's a course in globalization. And there were two case studies that really stood out to me. One was on Singapore, how it became a first world country from a third world country. And it was free trade, right? They opened up their doors to businesses to bring manufacturing in there. Their economy boomed, and that's how they're so rich in Southeast Asia. And there was one on India. They realized that they were depending on China and other countries to make things for them. They're like, no, we need to change things now. So there's this program called Make in India now to bring manufacturing back and to raise up their economy. Vietnam too, right? Manufacturing is booming over there. People see that manufacturing is what drives the economy. It's what makes economies thrive. So like California, America, we all need to kind of wake up and realize like this is where it's at. If we want our country to be strong again, support one another, get into manufacturing, because it's fun, cool, sexy, it pays the bills, it could be very lucrative, right? And like what you said, you don't need a 4-year college. Or even, I know a machinist from high school, he became a machinist. Now he owns a machine shop, a plating company, a farm, no college degree. So you don't need all of the education, and you can be so successful in this industry.
You just have that need, the dream and the desire, and you can make anything happen. I think California, and to another degree, the country has become complacent. Well, we're number one. Yes, but you have to work at that.
Yes.
And complacency, I think, is very dangerous because one day we could wake up and be the 6th largest economy in the world, and then we'd wonder what happened rather than ensuring that we're moving toward becoming the 4th. And my best class happened to be in college because I took an economics class and everybody hated economics. Oh, why are you doing that? Oh, that's terrible. Literally on day one, I fell in love because the concepts that were being discussed were talking about how people can improve themselves, how countries are financed. And it was fascinating. And I believe in the economics more than I believe in the finance, because at the end of the day, it's the economics that underpin the finance. You can't have the finance without the economic structure behind it. So I'm a generalist in that regard, and that's why I'm such a big believer in tax incentives, because they will have a positive impact on the economy. Positive. And we'll continue working on that.
Well, I can't wait to see what more you do to our state to support manufacturers, Lance. It is a pleasure to have you on this show. And, tomorrow we get to go find out what's the coolest thing made in California.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. I think your podcast is great. It's got a perfect name. You're getting the word out, and you're doing it in an entertaining, informative way. So thank you for doing a podcast like this, and we'll promote it, and let's get more people thinking and talking about manufacturing, because we all should wake up every single day thinking about manufacturing because literally it makes California.
It totally does. And I want to share a success story. One of my mom friends, she told me that her son was thinking of going to welding school, and she stopped him until she watched my episode on welding. And I talk about how much they could be making. And she's like, Christine, I changed my mind because I watched your episode. So even if I could just change one person's mind, that fulfills my heart, and we just need to share this information, because I don't think a lot of people know. They think like AI and software and VR and all of this like new shiny stuff is where it's at. but we need to like take a look into like the old school, the tradition, the things that we will always need. We always need to make things. You know, SpaceX can't fly their rockets without making parts.
Fort Landis rocket. It does both. That's the amazing thing.
And so we need manufacturers. So I look forward to helping California, America. You know, we need this country to thrive again, and it's going to be through manufacturing.
It absolutely will. And I just want a closing comment because we've been talking about education and who could do what and where. Most California students don't go to a four-year university. Most don't. So that means most are doing something else. And there's been so much effort and policy discussion and money put at fewer that don't go, the fewer that do go to university than those who don't. We need to start talking about those who don't. And they are the most. And if we can take care of the most in a way that they're career oriented, career doesn't mean working in an office. Career means doing something you enjoy for a good livelihood. Let's start talking about the most. And I think when we do that and we make that pivot, that really will be what California's mark on history will be, that we cared about the most.
Yes, totally. I totally agree. Thanks again, Lance. This has been wonderful. Thank you very much,
Christine. I love it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed our field trip to Sacramento. If you or someone you know would like to be on the show, we would love to have them on. Just drop me an email or shoot me a DM on Instagram or LinkedIn. Details are below in the description. And if you had a blast listening, remember to hit that subscribe button, share the episode, and help spread the love for manufacturing. Until next time, keep on creating, keep on innovating, and always remember to keep it fun, cool, and sexy.